Right. Well, I will point out that I don't do intros to these podcasts at all. I pretty much just start recording and then just go with the flow. And then that's it. Most of the time, you might think that people get put off by it, but no, they seem absolutely fine with it, which is always a blessing.
Well, so most radio shows start unless they start with some fancy intro, which is so cliche.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, you don't need to worry about putting an intro together. You can just turn it on, just start recording, and then that's it. You just start going into it.
Yeah.
But
Good morning, London.
yeah, good
Yeah,
morning,
because I didn't know what city
London.
I was in.
Good morning to the city that I don't give a fuck about. How are you all doing today? Although to be fair, there was quite a tragedy that went down in London. Not the terrorist attacks that happened on London Bridge, but there was another one. I don't
Oh,
actually know the full ins and outs of it, but there was a tower block of
yeah,
apartments that got set on fire.
saw a brief bit on that big tower block and the whole thing about your conservatives last year gunning down a law to help protect people from such things.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
what
that's
the
it.
hell are they thinking?
I don't know, but again, like you are, as we were talking on Twitter, you are talking to someone that just has no. I don't. You know more about the politics in my country than I do, so
Oh,
that just really shows how little interest I have in them.
you should be ashamed.
I,
You need to you need to take part in your future, man. You definitely do.
well, I do. Well, I vote. I do vote. I never used to vote, but it got to a point where
Hey, at least you
a
did
lot of
that.
people. Yeah, I
Most
did. I
most
did do
people
that.
don't, and then they'll bitch about it. You have no right to bitch about something you couldn't vote for.
That's the thing. Yeah, that is absolutely true. But then at the same time, I can't. I don't bitch about it because I know nothing about what's going on. So I don't. I'm just like, no, fuck it. I just go with the flow. That's pretty
Was it
much it.
good? Was it bad? Should I be upset or should it just be happy?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go with it and then just see what happens. But yeah, I will. I will say I have actually started recording, just so that you know. And this is the thing: is that it's just a natural flow of conversation. Doesn't matter. You don't
No,
need,
that's
as we were saying, don't need any intros or anything like that. But
no, not at all.
not at all. But one thing I will say, just for the people that are listening, if you don't know who I'm talking to right now, this is Brian, who I actually called Brain in our DMs on Twitter because of shitty autocorrect. But you
Oh
guys
yeah,
know.
blame it on the autocorrect, sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I've had
Yeah. Yeah.
CEOs spell my name wrong, so
Oh
I'm pretty sure you
yeah.
had to have too.
Nah, I mean it's not to do with my dyslexia or anything. No, it's just autocorrect,
No.
So that's just what it is. That's iPhones for you. They try to predict what I'm saying. But yeah, in case you guys don't know who Brian is, he is more famous. I say like yeah, he's more
Famous.
popular. Yeah, well,
I'm not famous.
you've got 30,000 Twitter followers, mate. You're doing quite right for yourself. You're doing good.
That's a respectful
But
number. I appreciate
you
everybody
know,
who follows.
it's a fair hefty amount of Twitter followers. But yeah, you'll know Brian from his Twitter handle as rockstarnetwork.net. And yeah, I wanted to bring you on the show. Well, it's not really a show. It's just me talking, bollocks to whoever I want to bring on, really. But it's not really a show. Podcast. It's well, actually,
Welcome
no,
to
I
the
will
8
call
Bit Bastards podcast.
Welcome to the 8-Bit Bastard Podcast.
Would you like some tea with that?
You better fucking listen in, you bastards, because otherwise I'll be right or bollocks. Anyway, oh, one thing I'm a bit weird, skeptical about actually is because we're talking through this through the power of Facebook. Anyone that decides to chat to me is going to end up making loads of notification noises as we go along. And like there, loads of it. Oh, this is the worst thing. When you're involved in group chats, they just keep going and going and going, and they just don't stop.
You
I
can
wonder
stop.
if,
There's a way to
yeah,
stop them.
I'm wondering if there's a way. Hang on, turn off chat. But then if I turn off chat, is that
No, no,
gonna?
no. You turn off notifications.
This is just my guest,
I
my
know.
podcast guest is telling me how to do this in a more professional manner. That just shows the level of professionalism that goes on in this.
Come on,
Turn
get with the
off.
program.
Come on, get with the program. Right, there we go. Right, I've turned the chat off. There should be no notifications. There should be no other bullshit that goes on. It should just now be all good, is what I'm hoping for. But don't hold me to that, Brian. I tell you that
Yeah.
right now. Do not hold me to that, because otherwise, you'll think that I'm doing my job properly, which I'm not.
No, it's okay. I turn off notifications on my phone, but somehow, Facebook has managed to make notifications come up anyway. Like,
Oh
is
yeah, yeah.
audio off completely for that? What the hell's going on?
Hmm. But well, first of all, like, you seem to be enjoying. What is your thoughts on the Gunrunner DLC straight away? Like, do you think it's good? Well, I suppose you need the money in order to buy it, don't you? Really, if
Oh,
you want to
yeah.
fully enjoy it.
You gotta have a boatload of money to buy it first.
Because there was,
And then you get to populate an empty bunker unless you've got more cash. So you
yeah,
gotta
that's
grind
it.
away to get more cash to buy more things.
Particularly if you're playing it by yourself. If you don't
Yeah.
have like a squad of people to play it with, then it becomes a little bit of a, why did I even think about spending millions of dollars on this bunker that's filled with no one?
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to get everybody lined up at once. I run across a few friends at a time and play in little groups,
Oh yeah, definitely.
but I never set up any big times that say, "Hey, everybody, let's play Saturday this time. Everybody get together." No, that's not how it works. You just
No,
play at
no.
everybody's leisure, man.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, as time goes on, as we get older, and as we, as we delve into our age, we
Got life things. We've got life things. We got things called adulting. You have to be responsible.
yeah, that's it. We have to start being responsible. It's not like when we were teenagers and we could just spend all of our days and hours, just sat at our computers, just playing video games or consoles. We've got life. We've got to do things. We've got stuff to do. It's the
Got things
worst.
called bills.
Yeah, that's it. And at the moment, because I'm unemployed, I can't actually pay the bills. So that's when things become an absolute ball ache. When you the money, you need money is essentially it. You just need money in order to do all the adult life things that we so desire.
So I've heard this term ball ache. Does that mean like getting kicked in the nuts?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're probably going to hear a lot of English slang in this that you're not aware of. But yeah, ball ache is
Slangs and euphemisms and all that.
Oh
good
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, full blown. Well, like the ball ache is basically when things just become. I was just about to say when things become a ball ache, but it's that pain that you get when someone kicks you in the balls. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine that, but that is what you're putting the problem. That's like the closest you can get to explaining what the problem is. It's like, when it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. Although, to be fair, I'd rather go through that issue than get kicked in the bollocks. I'll tell you that.
Any day.
Any day. But that's it. Is that, a ball ache is something that you do not wish to have. But, but these are all the things that you're going to learn as we go into this podcast. You're going to learn all of these different words. And feel free to stop me and ask me to explain what it is that I just said. There's no problem whatsoever.
All right. You'd be surprised I might know some of them.
Oh, well, I'd be intrigued to hear.
Not all of them.
Yeah, you might.
I can't say I actually use them here in America because that would just sound kind of weird. People look at me kind of cross-eyed like, what?
Yeah, that's it. But there is to be fair, in going along with like slang and stuff, I've noticed that there's been quite a few like English slang words that have now been incorporated into America. Like I'm almost certain you've probably heard people in America saying the word fam. Have you heard that?
Yeah. I never thought it came from the UK though. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I could be completely incorrect, but I'm pretty sure that is why, because we, like, as Brits, we do say fam quite a lot as a sort of short term of saying family, obviously. But, it's just like, oh, stay fam, all this kind of shit. But yeah, I just started seeing, because I've got quite a few mates of mine on my Facebook feed that are American, and they use the word fam in there. And it's quite odd to hear people say the word fam in America, because it's a bit, I don't know. To me, it seems a bit weird. I'm not the biggest fan of it in the world, but hey ho, that's what we do. We deal with it. That's how we roll. I'll tell you what.
So what about this other word, bruh? Wasn't it BRH or BRUH?
What, bruh?
Bruh?
bruh. Yo, what's up, bruh?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say bruv, which is another thing that we use,
And
which is the
yeah,
short thing of
there's
brother.
bruv.
That's it. There's bruv. And there's
Yeah,
fam ting. Oh, mate, there's so many. There's so many. I don't want to
Fam
confuse
ting
you.
bruv.
Yeah, yes! Oh, he knows the lingo. He's right in there, mate. He's right in there getting involved. Oh, it's fucking quality. But I tell you what, let's now that we've because to be fair, actually, this is like the first time that I've actually heard your voice, and this is the first time you've heard. Well, actually, no, it's probably a lie. This isn't the first time you've heard mine because you've
No, it's not the first time I've heard yours. I listened to your podcast. I listened to it a little bit until it's like, man, I got other things I got to do, honestly, and it's not trying to be disrespectful. I just got other things to do. Don't have an hour and a half to devote to a whole podcast.
Brian, you don't have to be polite. You can say that the podcast was shit if you so wish to. There's no problem whatsoever.
Oh, it sucked balls.
Oh, it was fucking shite. It was the worst hour I've ever gone through. How dare you?
It's funny, but honestly, I had things to do.
No, it's all good. But I'll tell you what. Let's sort of make things a bit more serious, because the reason why that I actually wanted to bring you on the podcast was because you have recently. Sorry.
Because you like me?
Well, yeah. Well, you know. I mean, I think we're pals at this point. I think we're pals. But no, I wanted to bring you on for a general chin wank. Which isn't a form of masturbation. That is, a chin wank is basically like a good old natter, a good talk, a chat, basically, is what that is. I'm not here to chat you up, Brian. I would have done that. I would have slid into your DMs years ago if I was trying to delve into that side of you. But,
just inbox me.
oh yeah, just inbox Brian at rockstarnetwork.net. And ask him if he will take you out on a date, and I'm sure you'll get quite a few. I'm sure you'll get quite a few, but no, I wanted to talk to you not only as friends, but I wanted to get your take. So, in case there are people listening that are not aware of the pretty much the traumatic and horrific experiences that you have gone through in the last few months or so. Do you just want to explain to people that are listening that don't know exactly what happened to you? You know,
sure. It was really traumatic. It's something you never really kind of expect until it just like hits you like a door slamming in your face. I woke up on my day off of all things. I had plans, was going to do things. I was weak and felt really weird, and the one thing is that it felt really weird was that all of my nervous system was numb. My senses were really hyper, like intellectually I could sense everything else, but everything else that I knew that I should be feeling wasn't there.
God, that
what had happened yeah, it was kind of frightening, and what it was, to explain, is that I had what's called a TIA. It's like a pre-stroke kind of thing, like a little mini event that says, hey, something more serious is going to happen to you if you don't do something quick. And I didn't really know at the time what was going on. I had enough strength to drink some water, basically. But the thing is that I picked up like this 20-ounce bottle of water that my wife brought to me. I lifted it about an inch, and it felt like it weighed 20 pounds.
Jesus Christ.
I dropped it immediately. It didn't spill anywhere because it wasn't open yet, but it was just like, there's no way I can drink this. I need further help. So I drank some water. I had enough strength to hold up my phone, even though it was really heavy. It was kind of unusual. So I looked up all the conditions that I was feeling, and every last result came up: TIA, stroke. Yes, it was like, dear God, this took out my grandfather when he was 65 or 67. I was really young when it happened to him. So my immediate reaction was just, I've got to call 911. Of course, you know, that's emergency services here to get an ambulance or fire department or somebody here to help me.
Yeah.
A little bit of time passed, and I kind of gathered some strength back. So I actually got up, got myself dressed, and of all things, they didn't help me down the 2 flights of stairs because I live on a second floor. I walked myself down the stairs without any, when they should have been helping me. I found out later from the doctors, should have helped you, period. you called for having a stroke. They should have helped you. But got diagnosed in the ambulance saying yep, and they rushed me to the hospital and they did all kinds of different evaluations from running CAT scan on my legs to see if I had any blood clots in my legs, ran me through, I'm sorry, ultrasounds on my legs, and did a
Yeah.
CAT scan on my head to see if there was any kind of event up there. There was nothing. So they asked all the routine questions like, hey, can you describe what's going on in this scene? Can you read these complex words back to me? Um, can you swallow? Are you having trouble swallowing? These kind of things that are really key indications as to how severe your stroke might be, because your nervous system can get affected. That affects your muscles. It can also affect your sight. It can affect your thinking and swallowing. Swallowing to the point where you can actually probably just choke yourself on your own saliva if you can't swallow correctly. So they wouldn't let me drink water. Um, they wanted to go round and round to make sure for a while that I was okay until they finally said, I'm not having any trouble swallowing. I'm really feeling dehydrated. Can I have some water? So they finally gave me some water, gave me an aspirin, and said, okay, we're going to put you up in a room for observation. They took me to the room, and I had another doctor come in, not an ER doctor, because ER does what they do, and other doctors do the other thing on the other floors. He started evaluating me the same way. Some of the tests they do are like muscle reaction. They check, reflexes, see if things kick off on their own. They also ask you to push strengths and squeeze strengths, which my left side was kind of weak still. It was I couldn't really judge how strong it was comparatively because my nervous system was lying to me the whole time. It felt normal, but it wasn't normal, and I knew it.
Yeah, that must have
But
been such a bizarre experience. I mean, just sort of going back to, what you were saying at the beginning, where you woke up and you just, had no power, like just no ability to function as you normally would, like when you went to bed, the night
oh,
before.
oh yeah, yeah. It
Yeah,
was
that must have been just such a crazy experience, like to go through that. That must have just been.
it's
I mean,
almost
I just don't even know. I just have no idea.
it'd be almost like if you were taped into your bed,
Oof.
but with
Yeah,
no
yeah,
tape.
yeah,
It
that's
was
it.
it
I
was really
mean,
unusual.
that's and the fascinating thing is that you, as we were saying in the messages on Twitter, is that you were saying that you remember everything just like it was, yesterday,
Oh
and
yeah, I
you know,
my mental capacities weren't affected at all. I remember stuff back to being 2 years old. I poured through my memories while I was laying in the hospital, searching out things to think through, like, is there something obvious that I know I should remember? Do I remember my mother's name? All kinds of stuff. Do I remember my
yeah.
wife's name? All these things. I remembered an event way back to when I was two that is verified and confirmed with my mother that it was like a grandparent visit, and she's like, how do you even remember that at the age of two? It's like, I don't know, I just do.
Well, at least, yeah, at least your memories were still able,
Yeah,
they were still intact because, I
yeah,
mean,
with
I
with
don't
with
know.
tangible memories, not something like, hey, I can still add 1 plus 1. It was like tangible memories.
Yeah, like you're just able to. I mean, that's something that I never really thought about. Is that when you're going through all of these experiences, you're in your head, you're thinking to yourself, okay, shit, do I remember as you were saying, like, do I remember my wife's name? Do I remember like my mother's name? Do I remember this? Do I remember that? Just like little bits and pieces that
Yeah,
you just might not have thought about to begin with. But yeah, that's insane. So as you were saying, so you were in the hospital and you asked for water and they gave you water, and
and
you
they
they were
sent me to my
basically
room.
saying, yeah, that you couldn't
Yeah,
swallow, like they wouldn't allow you to, like you were having a hard time swallowing. But no, continue. Sorry, man. Yeah, go for it.
yeah. No, they let me have some water. They gave me an aspirin, sent me to my room. The doctor went through his evaluation, which was like pushing and squeezing and testing for involuntary reaction, like when they hit your nerve points with a hammer to see if your leg jerks.
Yeah.
But while I was telling him, this is what I'm feeling, this is how things are going on, I started getting this white haze over both my eyes. my
Oh,
vision was being obscured, like milk was being poured into my eye, and it was coming in to close around my iris. Um, and what that was is I was actually having the stroke.
oh, so that
I
was the
That was
point
the
when.
deal. Yeah,
Holy
that was less than
shit!
15 minutes after taking an aspirin, which an aspirin can help kind of prevent because it's basically a blood thinner.
Christ.
Um,
So
but
you'd gone through, yeah. So you went from your home to the hospital, of which
mhm.
you hadn't had any sort of kind of medication at that point, and then you get to the hospital, they give you a little bit of aspirin, and then all of a sudden the stroke like kicks in full force, as it were.
Yeah, and it wasn't because of the aspirin, because the aspirin actually helps prevent these kind of things. I actually
Oh,
take it
okay,
every
yeah.
day now as a preventative measure. Um, but it was really frightening. They called an emergency, and about 20 people showed up to my room.
Oh,
And then they pushed me down to get an MRI right away. And of course, um, they gave me a pill telling me that it's going to help me if you're claustrophobic. Because if I'm not claustrophobic, I'll be fine. But they said, take it anyway. So it'll relax you. So I take this pill and I start hallucinating within 10 minutes of taking it. And it was, oh my God, they shoved me into this tiny little tube telling me to stop moving around because I'm having these hallucinations and I'm laying down on the ground in the middle of the woods. It was
Jesus. So,
really freaky.
what was it that they gave you? Did they give you like? Was it a kind of
Oh,
like? I don't know. Like the only thing that I could think of that would make you be like that would either be morphine or I don't know. Not
no.
I don't know.
It was one of
Ketamine or
those.
something. Like they just gave you some really like they gave you shrooms or something. Some really powerful hallucinogenic, so that it would just
It
calm
was
you
a
down.
psychotic drug of some kind, or
Yeah, just something that
it's
dulls
something
the
that's supposed to
pain.
relax you and make you not think about things and not worry, but it does this. This is one of the reactions it has with some people, and I have to be one of those people.
Oh no! So not only have you, so yeah, you're taken to the hospital. I mean, to be fair, like being taken to the hospital is one of the things I never wish to happen. I mean, it has happened a few times, but I've never like had an operation or anything like that. The worst that I've done is like broken my collarbone, and that's it.
Oh,
But
that's pretty bad.
to yeah, it's pretty it was pretty rough. I mean, I was only like 15 or something, but yeah, it's like going to the hospital. So from your experience, you've gone from your home with like with very little feeling, if and no very little maneuverability in your body, to then be given like aspirin, which then, or like I start going cloudy, and then the stroke actually starts kicking in, and then they give you a pill which makes you hallucinate, and then
Yeah,
you just start having like somewhat of a panic attack, like in the hospital, like on top of everything. It's like Jesus,
like, oh
that would have,
shit, what's going on?
yeah, that's it. And then, as you say, like when you are going through the stroke, and then the doctors realize what's happening, and then there's this flood of doctors that's come into the room. Like that's when you know shit is getting fucking real. When you are
Yeah, yeah.
surrounded
I
by
was like
doctors.
looking around at all these people, nurses and doctors, and it's like they have a whole team just ready to roll on people when they're in distress,
Yeah,
which is
that's it.
good. It's
And
better than just having, oh, okay, we'll get someone for you. I'd rather have all the people show up and say, we're going to help you.
yeah, that's it. That is like I can imagine it's a traumatic yet yeah, it's a not so much a comfort feeling, but knowing that there's just all of these people ready to help you straight away, that must give you some bit of reassurance. That was the word I
It,
was looking for, a bit of
yeah,
reassurance.
it did. I wasn't worried. I wasn't freaked out about being in the hospital so much as what's going on with me and can we correct this?
Yeah.
I want to feel normal again. I want this to stop.
Yeah, you just want it all to stop. So carry on. You took so the doctors gave you this pill that then sent
Mhm.
you on this screaming bender of a hallucinogenic,
Yeah, which lasted about 45 minutes or so until it's like finally wore off. And by that point, I was in ICU, which is intensive care. Um, and being kind of still under its influence and still being kind of upset and also having to urinate badly, I sat myself up in my bed,
Hmm.
put my legs over the bed, and attempted to walk. Um, at this point, I didn't realize how bad things were for me. I really believed that I was going to be able to just walk over and use the toilet.
Yeah, yeah, as you would do, you know. Do you know what I mean? Like you would think, like you would just go, "Oh, just go to the toilet," and you just get up, and then you sort of, you know, as you would do, you would just get up on your 2 feet and you walk across, you take a piss, and then you come back and you lay
Yeah, it's
down or
like,
whatever.
okay, I got to go really bad. I'll go do this, and then I'll just get back into bed. And of
Yeah, that's
course,
it.
I stood there, I held on to the edge of the bed, and I took my first step, and I had these big socks on that were, because it was still quite cold out. Um, they slipped. My feet went out from underneath me, and I went
Oh
crashing to the
no!
floor.
Oh my god!
And they were so pissed at me.
Oh, yeah. So were
What are
you
you
under
doing?
strict?
Are you trying to hurt yourself more?
So were you?
Well,
I take it
no,
you
not
were.
really.
No, I just wanted to go for a piss.
I
For
just needed
God's
to
sake.
go.
Yeah. So
But
you were under sort of strict. You were sort of under strict instructions by the doctors and the nurses to stay in your bed and not move.
oh,
And
after
then,
that, definitely, yeah. They didn't.
oh
They
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
tell me, hey, by the way, you're not going to be able to get up and go anywhere. Stay put.
yeah, yeah. But then, obviously, of course, as you say, like, yeah, none of that really processes. You just kind of think, oh fuck it, yeah, no, I
Oh,
could get up,
yeah.
it's fine. I could get up, it's all good. And then
And I'm
you realize,
still under the
oh
influence of
shit,
this medication wearing off out of my system, and of course, the urgency to use the facilities is like
yeah,
overpowering when you're not in your full your full self.
yeah, that's it. It must be. I mean, you must have felt so helpless, you know, like going through all of this, just not even being able to do the simplest of tasks, you know, just
Yeah.
not being able to get up and do this. But then, so what was so from then on? So you, they gave you, you
Um,
know, they
they
gave you.
eh, they administered a blood thinner. When you have a stroke, within 3 hours of having that stroke, they can give you this concoction of a blood thinner that will help reverse the effects of the stroke.
Okay.
Um, and they gave that to me. So not only was on blood thinners and hallucin and all that, but by the time the medicine wore off, I was profusely apologizing for the fact that I did that. I didn't know that I didn't know better at the time. That's
Yeah, of
all. I
course. Yeah,
just
I would
didn't
do
know
the
that.
same.
But they took really good care of me. But the shocker was that after all that wore off, I realized that I could not move my left arm or left leg at all. I
Jesus.
couldn't send a single nerve signal to even twitch a finger.
What? Was it also in your face as well? Was it like your
Um,
whole left hand side, or was it just from sort of the neck down, as it were?
uh, it did a little bit to my face, but not much. And I joke about this. I had like I have TMJ on that side, and ironically, that side of my face straightened out, so my face is more now more symmetrical than it was before.
Well, I mean, you know, sort of pros and cons, I suppose. But
Yeah, it's
as
okay. I
much
got
as
a facelift.
yeah, you know, at least you came out with something. But you know, you
Yeah,
know,
but
oh
yeah,
dear.
I can
But
joke about it. But yeah,
yeah, I
it
mean,
was pretty serious.
yeah,
It
that's
was
it.
quite frightening. Uh, and I wept. I wept there for a minute, trying to figure out, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Yeah,
Is
I
is
would
this gonna
do exactly the
what's
same.
gonna happen now? Am I gonna be like somebody who's in a chair all the time? What's going on? And then I stopped as soon as it said, you will get better. We're gonna get you through some physical therapy, and you will walk again. So I stopped, and I hung on to that. Didn't weep ever since then. And I just looked forward every day. And as things gradually improved to, wiggling fingers, to lifting the arm up enough to rest it on my chest, to, moving my leg just a little bit. The leg is a lot more effort. felt like it weighed a ton. But I got my arm moving more and more every day, a little bit. Very difficult, very, you could say it was like a toddler learning how to use their limbs again. Because the area of my brain that was affected controlled all that. So it was either doing one of two things, either healing, or I was creating new neural connections in my brain to use these limbs. So I don't know to this day if it's completely healing in there, or if I've done both, or if I've just created all new neural connections. It's
Yeah, I mean,
the brain is quite
after
tricky.
it is quite a tricky. Yeah, it's definitely a fickle thing. But how long ago did this actually happen? Was this a few months ago that this occurred, or
March 31st.
March 31st? See, fucking hell, yeah,
Yeah.
you know exactly. I mean, your brain has definitely not been, your memories have definitely not been damaged by this affair. But I just
No.
remember, I do remember when I was just looking through Twitter one day, and to be fair, that's when we sort of first started talking to each other. I just remember on being on Twitter and looking through my feed, and then I see a picture of you, well, like a picture of your hand, like whilst you were laying in a hospital bed. And I
Oh,
was just
yeah.
like, Jesus, fuck, like,
I,
what the hell has happened here? And,
I had full use of my right arm, and I insisted
yeah,
on being able to keep my phone so I could keep in touch with family and
yeah,
friends.
exactly, yeah. And then that's when I just messaged you going, what the fuck's happened? And then, you sort of went to explain what was going on. But yeah, I just really wanted to, that's the reason why I wanted to bring you on here, is because I really wanted to find out exactly what it was that happened. But going through what you were saying about at the moment that you had that positive thought of knowing, okay, this, I'm gonna be fine, and
Yeah,
then
I will get better.
yeah, that's it. And then as soon as you start seeing progress, like you're able to move your toes, you're able to move your fingers, that must just be one of the most, like, one of the purest forms of euphoria, just or like, the biggest kind of, I don't even know, like, that's that's the thing, it's
Yeah.
like, it's really,
Oh,
it
yeah.
must be so crazy to
Dude,
the biggest.
it took over a month and a half to even get the toes wiggling, but because it's the furthest part from your brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, the arm was like the first thing to come back. Then I was getting the leg. Um, then I started going through physical therapy in the hospital. But before even then, before I even actually knew when they were going to start me, I started doing things sitting in the hospital room. I was trying to open things like they'd sent me meals. They'd send me a bag of chips. Okay, great. Send a stroke patient a bag of chips. How are they going to open it with one hand?
Oh
So,
no.
so of
Oh,
course,
that's
determined as
so.
I was like, I'm not calling the nurse. I'm going to do this.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
definitely.
grabbed it with my left hand as much as I could and then pulled it open with my right arm because my right arm was completely unaffected.
Yeah, because I think isn't that the case, like with stroke victims, is that it normally tends to go down the left hand side, because that's where
Yeah, left to
the
right.
yeah,
So,
because that's where, like, the side of the brain, like, gets most effective. I'm probably completely wrong,
yeah.
but I don't, but you
No,
know what I mean.
you're right. It's normally how it happens. And there's
Okay.
multiple types of strokes too. Some people have what's called a bleed out, where a vein pops and you get blood getting into your brain, and that can
Yeah.
affect all kinds of things from speech to vision to everything. Mine was more so that it was a clot,
Okay.
which is caused by having two things: high blood pressure, lots of caffeine in my diet, which doesn't help. That's not necessarily what they'll say, but lots of caffeine, which has caused problems for me, um, and having high cholesterol.
Mm. And that and
So
is that what the sorry, is that what actually caused? Is that what
that's
the
yes, that's what caused it. Having high blood
bloody hell?
pressure, and you can be any age and have really terrible of the two.
Yeah, so just a combination of high caffeine, cholesterol, and then all of a sudden you go to bed one night and then you wake up the next day and you're like, oh shit, I
Yeah.
am completely numb down one side. That's one of the things that most people, dread to ever happen to them, and it's such a, oh
It
god, it
beats
just,
waking up dead.
yeah. Well, that is true.
The
That is
irony.
absolutely true. But yeah, it's definitely no, it just must have been such a brutal experience. But then in terms of like your recovery, so you were going through the stages of making sure that you were able to be mobile on your left hand side. So what kind of
Yeah.
things did they? I take it they sort of got you as time went on. They got you to do various different exercises
Oh
to
yeah.
get things going back.
Everything from squishing foam to getting the finger muscles working and strong, because at that point they've lost all memory. They start atrophying a little bit too because of not being moved.
Of
So
course,
you
yeah, that's
basically got
true.
to
Yeah.
build all your strength back up. You also have to teach it that it can move in these directions. Getting fingertips to touch one another when you take from pointy finger to the thumb to middle finger to the thumb, etc., all the way down to your pinky. You've got to teach yourself that you have this coordination still.
Yeah, so as you
Things that
say, yeah, it is
things that we
like
take
when
for
you
granted every day. Even snapping fingers. It took me 2 months until I could even snap fingers.
Christ, that is just all these things that we sort of take for granted, and then there's you
Oh yeah.
like having to reteach yourself how to do all of this stuff. As you say, it's like when you're a toddler, you're a baby, and you're just sort of learning your motor skills, and you're trying to get your hand-eye coordination going. But yeah, trying to learn all of this stuff, because I'm sure, like, as you're doing this, you're thinking to yourself, I know how to do this. Like, I've got an
Yeah.
arm here that's doing it. Why the fuck isn't this one doing it? That kind of level of like, I can only assume it must be pure sort of. It must be so aggravating to not be able to do that for so long, and then
It
finally
it
you're able to.
is. It is, but you have to accept it and you have to move on. You have to know that you can get better. I was hearing patients in other rooms that were affected in different ways. Some of them were jumping out of their beds repeatedly because they were so lost. They were so in such a bad state with their stroke that they were just doing things that didn't make any sense because they thought they were
Right.
somewhere else, thought they were doing something different. So
See, that's
I was pretty
fascinating in that
lucky.
sense.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's all kinds of different effects that can occur.
So I take it, were you when you were going through your recovery, were you in a ward where there were other stroke victims? Like you were in you were in a specific area of the hospital that was taking care of stroke victims. Is that what the situation was?
Kind of 50-50. Some people had different conditions that had occurred.
Okay, fair. But yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine it must be bizarre, like as you're sat there and you're seeing other stroke victims like going through all of these various different side effects, if you want to call it that.
Yeah,
Um,
well, and more like hearing it down the hall. Luckily, I had my own room,
oh,
so
fair, yeah. Well, yeah, I can't imagine what it must be like, sort of going through that kind of recovery process whilst you're it's sandwiched in the middle of like a dude on your left and then a woman on your right or whatever. You know what I mean? It must
yeah.
just be it's so bizarre. But you definitely had the right state of mind for it, just to think positively and just get through it and make sure that you don't let it overcome you. And as you say, like you saw firsthand what can happen when that kind of mentality can take over, and as you say, people are just jumping out and just not handling it very well. But you took it very,
Yeah.
yeah, you dealt with it in the best way possible, by the sound of it,
Oh
which
yeah,
is
it
a
could,
very
it could be
good
totally
thing.
disastrous
Exactly,
if
I
it
can only
panned on
assume.
completely.
Yeah. So are you still at the moment, like, what is your sort of mobility like at the moment? Like, I can only assume you're not fully functioning, but are you able to get up and walk? Like, are you able to? I mean, you've been able to go to work, which is a good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But then,
Um,
yeah, are you able to just sort of get up and walk around? Are you able to just use the left side of your body as you normally would, or is there still quite a bit to go?
there's a little bit to go. I'll step us back about just over 30 days ago. Yeah, well over 30 days ago. I had started the physical therapy.
Mm.
40 days. Um, so it was all the small stuff first, working up to get the muscles working, being able to just get up on your own two hands and knees is just an effort of being able to move your body and function and not fall and be able to lift legs. These are the sort of small steps that I took. It was like watching a baby when they roll over and they get up on their hands and knees to crawl away, but you see them, wobble and jitter and stuff. I had to go through that with some stability with my right side, but trying to get the left side to do that and cooperate. So I had to work all the way through that. I walked up to the
Christ.
point where I could actually walk very slowly, but I had what was called foot drop, and they used a brace to keep my foot straight. Because foot
Oh,
drop
I
is where you have
see.
no motor muscle control at all, and your foot just drops down. It
Yeah, it
points
just hits
down.
the floor because I can
Yeah,
assume that you just don't have the ability
to,
to.
yeah, it's toes down.
Yeah, that's it. So it just sort of becomes like this sort of solid lump on the side of your body that needs to be upright in order for you to be able to go forward in a walking, manner.
Yeah,
Yeah, fucking hell, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, when you're starting to walk, like obviously you can't move your thigh, you can't bend the knee, so your leg is just just a block that
yeah,
needs to be
yeah.
supported.
And they
Jesus
start you off
Christ.
with muscle movements, and they help you, and they stretch muscles. You start off with the thigh. You strengthen your thigh so you can start doing that, and your hip muscles too, because your body also wants to compensate. Your right side will trick it, and it'll try to pull harder to keep you straight, which can in turn affect it too.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so
I
you
take it.
build up all the muscles, and you have to work with them all at the same time.
Yeah, I
And
can imagine. Yeah, definitely. But have you like whilst you were sort of trying to get the left side of your body back up and running, were you causing like any sort of extra damage to your right hand side? Because I don't know if that's sort of taking the weight, as it were, if it's like taking the strain of the rest of your body that's not functioning properly. Did you get any kind of like issues on the right hand side of your body as a
a little,
as a sort of yeah.
a little. I ended up giving myself tennis elbow on my right arm. being
Jesus
being
Christ.
able to pull and do
Oh,
stuff and do all the extra compensation for it, I ended up
oh,
pulling it, and it's
Brian, you poor
still healing.
bastard. Oh, you poor bastard, man. I really feel like, this. I mean, from my perspective, I mean, this is why I'm asking so many questions because I'm fascinated as to just what the mindset is of someone that's going through this kind of stuff. And there's just all of these little bits and pieces that I just don't think of. And then now that you're explaining it to me, I'm just like, oh my God, like you have to go through this and then there's this and this. And you're like,
Oh
fuck,
yeah.
like you just don't think about that kind of stuff.
And there's nothing like trying to use a muscle for a few times and then suddenly it just says, "Oh, I'm done."
Yeah, it
It's
just
like,
opts out. It just goes,
come
I'm
on,
good.
do something. Nope, not going to.
No,
Can't
no,
make
no,
me.
no. Not yet, not yet. No,
Yeah,
in due time, like I'll be back. I'll be ready. Don't worry, it's fine.
yeah.
But
Try
yeah,
again in an
that's
hour.
yeah. Like no, I'm just on a break at the moment. Just try back in a bit, and
Yeah.
then we'll go from
And,
there and we'll see what happens.
and
But
it's called muscle fatigue. It's also called nerve fatigue because you're sending all these signals to your muscles, and your brain gets tired from sending these signals. It's like, this is all new to me. I can't handle this. This isn't something I'm used to. I've got to learn to get used
yeah,
to this. So you've got to condition your brain. You've got to condition the nerves in the legs and the arms and the fingers, everything again to do it all for you.
yeah, that's it. You've just got to program. It's like having a fresh sort of palette, as it were. A blank
Yeah,
canvas, and you've just now got to start. Putting all of these nerve ending. Like your brain just needs to get back into the swing of using it all again.
yeah.
I just
It's
I
like I'm
can't
still
I
getting.
can't imagine what it's like. It must just be such a bizarre and traumatic experience. It just must be
It's
absolute
like getting
hell.
Windows updates. You've you've installed them, rebooted. Hey, here's some more.
Yeah. So
Oh
I've just spent
shit! Come on.
hours doing this, and it's like by the way, there's about 75%. Yeah, you just got a bit more to go. It's like come
Okay,
on,
reboot.
really? Yeah, fuck it. All right, I'll shut it down. We'll load it up again. And we'll try again tomorrow. Oh man, that's insane. But so at the moment, you're back at home. You're playing GTA as you would, having been spent like however long you spent in a hospital. In fact,
Long
how
enough
long
to be.
did you spend? How long did you
Jesus,
spend at the hospital?
19 days and an
Jesus
additional 20
Christ.
spread out for physical therapy every day.
Oh God. So you were like in a hospital bed for 19 days, and then as you said,
Hmm.
20 days of going back to the hospital for physical therapy and things like that.
Yeah.
God, it must be such a relief just to be able to go to your own home and just is somewhat go back to the way things were. I can only assume it must be such a relieving experience to go through that.
Oh, most of it. Can't run yet.
Yeah.
Can't ride my bike for the summer. I can't go out and enjoy the weather.
Yeah.
There's just certain things I can't do. I can walk maybe 30 minutes until I'm exhausted, not like full on exhausted. I can take a break for maybe 15, 20 minutes and walk again. But the point is that I have limitations.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a while until I get past those limitations, which is just building up everything. And on the positive side, I've been losing. I wouldn't say I'm fat, but I had some little chub going on.
Yeah, you had a
I had a little chubby going on, and
you know, but you got to keep that there just so that you don't split in half when you reach for the cookies in the top of the shelf. It's there for protection, mate. That's what it's there for.
It's going away. It's going away, man. If I keep at this rate, I'll have a 6-pack by the end of summer.
Oh, get in, mate. Well, you know, again, there's swings and roundabouts with this. There's pros and cons. You know, you may have a stroke, but you're losing weight. That's a really
all right. Worst weight loss program ever.
Oh yeah. Oh, you want to lose weight? Well, get yourself a stroke. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be making jokes about that. I shouldn't be making jokes. Oh dear.
You dirty bastard.
You fucking bastard. But no, it is good though. It is healthy that you are able to make somewhat of a joke about it. Because as you said, there must have been, from what you were seeing in the hospital, there must be so many people out there at the moment that are just going through a much more, you know, they must be handling it a lot worse. Because, I mean, when I asked you if you were willing to come and talk about it, I immediately thought your reaction would be, no, it's still too painful for me, of which I would have fully respected. But the fact that you have come on and you've explained, you know, what you went through, I'm very grateful for it. I really am.
Oh, no problem, man. Were you expecting me to say, fuck off, mate, mind your own business?
Well, I was sort of half expecting that, yeah, and that was quite a good British accent actually. But no, I was my first initial reaction was going to be like, I'm just expecting like a kind of, no, I'm good, and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, you know, fuck it. I asked, you know, if you don't ask, you don't get, kind of thing. But there is
I'm friendly with everybody unless they show me otherwise.
No, that's fair, yeah. I mean, obviously, if I was coming at you like a cunt, then you would just go, fuck off. Like, you're an evil man. I don't want to talk to you or be nothing to do with you, you bastard. Get away from me. But yeah, so just also as well, I should bring this up. While in the talk of your... Oh, actually, I tell you what, hold that thought one mo. I will be back. We're just going to have to do just a little brief cut. Hang on, one sec, brother. One sec. Sure. Hello? Are you still there, Brian? You haven't left me, have you?
I've left you for another chat. I will see you later. No.
No, I'm so sorry about that. I'm just right at a cover point. But no, that's the problem, is because I've applied for so many jobs. Like any random number that calls my phone, I have to answer it just in case. But it wasn't to be in this sense. It was just a mate of mine fucking calling me up, and I was like, dude, I need to go. I'm doing a podcast with a guy. Come on, you need to just stop now. But yeah, it doesn't matter. I'll edit all that stuff out, and no one will know. So it's all good. It's all good. But what I was about to get into was so going through your recovery processes. You have also set yourself up a what was the website? It's pinned to your Twitter account. It says
You Caring?
You Caring website, where basically if any of you guys that are listening want to help Brian in any way, then the link will be in the description below, along with his Twitter, so that you can see it. But if any of you guys are able to help, then please do what you can. Just please donate to Brian to help him get through like this whole process. But yeah, as I say, all the details will be in the description for you guys to be able to check out. I'm sure Brian would greatly appreciate it, wouldn't you, mate?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And it's not going to be going to buy new games or some other bullshit. It'll be paying bills.
Yeah, well, that's it. But
yeah, some people set up a fund me. Can you help me get this new gaming system? Yeah, no.
But yeah, I think, we're getting near the hour mark. I think we could talk about a few extra bits, but we can also wrap this up. But I do want to get your opinion on. Well, actually, no, we talked about the Gunrunners DLC already, didn't we, at the beginning? So,
Oh yeah.
so we already talked about that. But
More
I'll
money
tell you
to
what.
make more money.
Yeah, more time to grind. But all right, I'll ask you a question that I'll probably be asking many people: is what games are you playing at the moment? You're obviously playing GTA, but is there anything else that you're playing, like that you're enjoying at the moment?
Oh, I'm trying to get through Uncharted 4. I'm near the end, and I'm playing at the most insane level of difficulty ever.
Oh, of course, it has to be done.
So, oh yeah, I did that on all the other three, so I've got to do it on this one too.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I've got just that going on.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
trying
that's
to
it.
stay a
That's all
little.
you need at this point because of the fact that you're playing it on the hardest difficulty. But that's it as well. Whenever I play games that have a story mode, I always tend to do it on the hardest difficulty. But there are times when that's bitten me in the arse a lot, like The Witcher. The Witcher 2, I was playing on the hardest difficulty and got stuck, and then was like, okay, I'm done with this. Didn't play it since. And
Yeah,
I
it's
did used to
sitting in
play
my cabinet too.
Yeah, that's it.
Hmm.
It sat in my cabinet for
Difficulty?
so
Should
long.
I just restart and go easy? I mean,
Nah,
I'm the one that tries.
you
I try to
can't.
play the games at the most difficult level possible. But you reach a point like, damn, is the AI so smart that you'll never get past it?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Like, I do always play those types of games on the hardest difficulty, and most of the time I end up getting stuck and then giving up on them, and then end up selling the game on. So, I should really learn from my mistakes. But
Yeah,
that's the
sometimes
thing.
you
That
gotta.
was back. That was back when I was young and I didn't have any worries, and I was just a student. And I could spend hours, days, and weeks playing games, but not like that anymore, mate. Eh? We don't do that
Yeah,
these days.
we do things called adulting.
Yes, we do things. Wait a minute! I just realised what you said. Then. I
Yes,
just
exactly.
said
Wait, what?
I was going to agree with that. I was going to be like, "Yeah, adulting. That's what we do." And I went, "Hang on a minute! I just realised what that actually is." How dare
Yeah,
you,
like
Brian?
drink beer and pay bills.
Yeah, exactly. You can go and drink alcohol like adults, and then go and pay bills. Oh man, it's the worst. But I tell you what, we're at the hour mark now, so well actually it's not going to be an hour because I disappeared for a few minutes, so I'm going to cut it down. But we're near the hour mark. But yeah, I won't take up any more of your time because I'm sure you want to get back to GTA and keep grinding away the money so that you can buy all the shit that Rockstar have given us recently. So
Oh man.
so I'll just
But not before I
say
go get myself a nice $6 pizza and have some lunch. Big
exactly.
spender.
Oh, massive spender, mate. Huge spender. But yeah, I just want to say thank you very much, man, for coming on to the show in inverted commas, and
Oh,
yeah,
no problem,
just explaining everything that happened. I was just incredibly interested to find out from your perspective what happened.
man.
So
It's definitely a life-changing event. It's
that
turned
it
my
is, my
hair a little
friend.
bit gray.
That is, yeah, I can only assume. It has. But yeah, to everyone that has listened, thank you very much for listening. Be sure to check out the description for all the bits and pieces pointing you in Brian's direction. And once again, Brian, thank you so much for coming onto the show. And
No problem.
and
Thank you.
and it was an honor. It was an honor and a pleasure, my friend.
All right.
Um,
If I ever get over there, we'll definitely have to have a beer.
Oh no, definitely, man. Like that will
Yeah.
definitely be on the cards. But I'm sure I'll bring you on the podcast again just to check up on you, make sure that you're all good, and you can just sort of explain your processes and your making sure that you're all good. I'm sure the people would want to check up on you and make sure that you're okay as well. So be sure to leave
Oh, yeah.
many love in the comment section, people. Come on, do it
Much
for
love.
God's sake, much love. But yeah, thanks a lot for coming on the show, Brian, and I will catch you later, and I will see all of you lot later. Peace.